It's just clickbait. Don't leave. It's just clickbait. But there's a little truth to it. I'm gonna quit YouTube this week. That's all. Just this week. We all have set championships going on right now, and for me, my closest local game store is a 3-hour drive. And thanks to one of the shops having a weird picking and choosing who gets to go instead of opening it to the public or doing pre-registrations. Yeah, they picked and choose. It's weird. I have to go to one tomorrow night, which means I have to work today. I have to build and prepare my deck for that. And what is going to be really awful is it's a 3-hour drive. It starts at 6 p.m. I just came back from one on Sunday that went 9 hours long and started at noon. What am I gonna do? 6 p.m? 9 hours? Hopefully I'm not getting back at 6 a.m. the following morning because I do have to work that day too. So yes, you're not gonna see videos this week. While we're at it, this is a fantastic time to talk about it. There are so many tournaments going on Saturdays and Sundays that I have decided that I'm going to start taking the weekends off. No uploads on Saturdays or Sundays, just because you guys are so busy anyway. You don't need my video just sitting there collecting dust while you're out there having a great time regardless. So I'll save all that time and energy to make the other videos just a little bit better. But yeah, sorry if this is a disappointment to some of you. I do want to thank you guys for making me a part of your daily routine. I know some of you guys love to get up in the morning, have your coffee, put some winter on in the background while you're getting ready for work, or others of you who it's the opposite. They come home from work and I'm the first thing that comes on. That's really cool. I do appreciate it. Good news, bad news. Since we're just talking about updates at this point, I am going to Atlanta. I have my ticket. I have my hotel booked. I have my plane ticket as well. All that stuff's taken care of. Atlanta is happening. Bad news. Chicago is so quick of a turnaround, and I guess the tickets for it went live while I was on the road to go to one of the set championships. I do not have a ticket for Chicago. I do not have a plane ticket. I do not have a hotel booked for Chicago. And it's so quick back to back with Atlanta. I actually don't have the funds. The coffee link in the description down below was enough to get me through to Atlanta, was not enough to get me with Chicago, unfortunately. So I will not be going to Chicago, but I will be going to Atlanta. And then of course, Las Vegas and Seattle are no-brainers. Definitely going to both of those, hands down, not a problem. Those ones are for sure happening. The only thing that I can't guarantee on those two is having a ticket to actually compete, but I'm still definitely gonna go to them. My wife has family in Vegas, so even if I don't get a ticket, there's still things to do there. And we live close enough to Seattle that the drive isn't horrendous, but not close enough that we could come home that night and go to bed and then come back the next morning. Just far enough away for it to still be a little awkward, but totally doable. I'm no stranger to sleeping in my car if I absolutely have to. I won't. And speaking of the set championships, I know some of you guys are going to be asking. I did go on this last Sunday. I went to my first one. Played my second ever paper game. Second ever. First was against my wife when the first chapter first came out, and we played the standard decks, the practice decks, whatever those are. These guys hidden up on the shelf way up top. These guys, the pre-made decks. That was my first ever game. It's also my last game. And then just now at the set championships, I played my second ever game. That's how much of a gap there was between the paper games. Yeah, there's a difference between pixelborn and paper. I did forget to draw my first card on my first turn against my first opponent. So I had to start putting dice on my deck to remind me, hey, you're supposed to draw a card. It's like, it doesn't happen automatically. Keeping track of my life total was simple enough. I had a little life tracker thing. Keeping track of my opponent's life total, slightly different story. I did largely trust them to do it. You shouldn't do that, but I did largely trust them to take care of that, which worked out fine for me. Keeping track of ink. Did you ink? Were you supposed to ink? And then more dangerously, was your opponent's ink, especially players playing ramp. that one was a lot harder to keep track of. And admittedly, by the time game 4 rolled around, I wasn't really paying attention anymore, and it would have been super easy for my opponents to have been cheating on ink, and I just couldn't catch it. Right? I was too busy trying to think of what I should be playing and how I should be playing to defeat them to pay attention to if the ink was on track. So those were a couple of jarring things between pixelborn and playing in paper. The other thing, of course, is you guys are all wondering how well I did. I got slaughtered. So I brought a Steel Song deck, Amber and Steel, and its biggest bane, at least in my opinion, and I think most people would agree, is Ruby Sapphire, because our removal doesn't have a lot of targets. They are a controlled deck. It's hard for us to keep a board state going, and yeah, like the biggest thing is half our deck is pretty much useless against them. I came to find out that like at least 8 of the players there were running it, so I very largely brought a knife to a gunfight without knowing it. I've never played up there before. I didn't know the local scene or anything like that. So things have shifted. I've made some changes. I have enough cards to bring a handful of decks. So hopefully I can get there and I'll be able to make a decision the day of or tomorrow. Just kind of listening, like, oh, are these the same people I played, or is this a different crowd? That kind of thing. And I can make a decision on the day. So let's hope. Cross our fingers. But thank you guys for listening to me ramble for this update video. That is going to do it. Don't forget, we are giving away all this stuff over here for the Patreon giveaway. I got 2 enchanted cards, 2 booster boxes, and anybody who donates on Coffee, yes, that link is still active if you still want to help me out. I still appreciate it. And of course, any amount of donation will get you access to this particular raffle. Still going to do this guy after the Chicago event, because there's nothing stopping me from going to Chicago and just hanging out with you guys. So if that's something you would really like to see, that link is still active, and this raffle booster box and the trove are still active for that guy. That's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next Monday. Ooh, that feels weird.